we were all sat here, me in particular, waxing lyrical about the great depth that they have at cornerback, and now we're sort of thinking, bloody hell, they better get Witherspoon back, and even to a lesser extent, Reed Woolen, get them both back on the field out there ASAP. So they need the health. I think sometimes a kick up the arse like a game like that was on defense can be a good thing, because it can really focus minds a little bit, and this will be interesting to see how they respond. If they go and concede another 30 points against the Jaguars, then I think we'll be sat here in a week's time talking about how concerning this is. If they play a lot better next week, we'll chalk this down to experience, and we'll all move on and continue to talk about how great this defense is. So I think that's to be seen. The other thing I'd say is I'm saying things that a lot of people are saying at the minute, but I agree with them. I think they probably have to look at the trade market. There are teams doing deals. There's been 2 trades today, 2 quite high-profile trades, one in particular with Joe Flacco. I think they've got to do something here. Whether that is a pass rusher, whether that's a linebacker, corner, safety, depth, whatever it is. I feel like they've got to go to the teams like maybe Miami, who are now sort of embracing where they are, and they've got to see who is prepared to do you a deal, because I feel like they need a bit more.
Well, it really did feel like Baker Mayfield was able to do whatever he wanted, and that his wide receivers were just so wide open. I know, Brian, earlier in the show, you had said that some of the safeties felt like they were running the wrong way. So I'd love to know, just from your perspective, what's one thing that you feel like the Seahawks defense needs to capitalize on next week?
I think it's hard. It's easy to overreact to a game like that. Baker Mayfield, for my money, is, if he's not the MVP, he's right behind Josh Allen. Like, he is playing that level of football. Ibuka is playing out of his mind at receiver. I think their game plan was really good, and the Seahawks seemed to come in with the wrong game plan and some players who made the wrong plays, and that sucks. But I think we should remember that the week before, they were the number 1 rated defense in DVOA. They were doing a lot of things really well. And so I think they've got to get back to what they were. They've got to get back to a team that can create pressure with four players. They've got to get back to being a team that is sound in their coverage principles and where they're supposed to be. And I think if they're that team, the worst case scenario is they're like a top 10 to 12-ish defense. Like, this isn't a bad defense if they just do those things, even with the backups, I don't think. But if you're going to have backup players who are less talented, less athletically gifted, and you're going to have them in a game plan that is not working, and you're going to have those players make bad choices, guess what? Players worse than Baker Mayfield can look really, really good. So I think they're going a huge step down in competition. In my estimation, Trevor Lawrence is nowhere close to Baker Mayfield as a quarterback. This guy, between picking his nose and falling on his ass and then finding a way to score, the guy can barely get a playoff without getting a delay of game penalty. I cannot stress how much of a difference there is between Baker Mayfield and Trevor Lawrence. And this is a team that relies on the run game. So Seahawks have been really good stopping the run, continue to do that, and then just get back to it. And hopefully health comes along with it. I just get hesitant about the health thing, because is there any team in the NFL that's healthy and stays healthy? It's pretty rare. So I think they've got to get back to who they are. I agree with Rob. They probably need to add somebody. If they really want to up their potential, I think there's trade potential either at linebacker or at edge, are 2 positions that I think that they should be looking. Ideally edge, but I think that's easier said than done.